Folks, I want to talk to you today about TurboTax versus TaxSlayer versus Credit Karma. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing fantastic. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. Today I want to have a quick conversation. I want to have a quick compare and contrast between TurboTax, TaxSlayer, and Credit Karma. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, please check out our evaluation approach. We have a rigorous methodology when it comes to categorizing, judging, evaluating, and reviewing all the tax software packages we review on this show. Check this out. All right, let's talk about features. TurboTax versus TaxSlayer versus Credit Karma, the features. TurboTax has always been one of the leaders in guided online tax filing, and they have a great reputation and a wonderful online interface. So they also have some interesting newer features, including things like the live CPA guidance. And this is obviously a premium service that you'll have to pay extra for. But the great thing here is, folks, if you pay for it, you can live chat with a CPA or EA enrolled agent who can then check your taxes and answer your questions before you file. And they also have a new feature called 3 financial numbers. So after you file your taxes, TurboTax gives you access to 3 key financial numbers: your credit score, your debt to income ratio, and overall income for the tax year. And you can get this elsewhere, but it's pretty helpful to have them in all place. What about TaxSlayer? TaxSlayer is a very affordable platform that lets you file your state taxes for free if you use its basic service. TaxSlayer has a deduction finder tool that lets you quickly find potential deductions based on your personal and tax information. And if you use TaxSlayer multiple years in a row, it will automatically compare your taxes from year to year, which can give you a good handle on your financial information. What about Credit Karma tax features? As with many cheaper tax filing platforms, Credit Karma Tax can save you a ton of money, no question about it, right? But it doesn't have a ton of additional bells and whistles. Still, Credit Karma features an easy to use interface. We kind of like their interface, very user friendly, and they also have an audit defense and an accuracy guarantee. With Credit Karma Tax, you can file the most common tax forms, but it doesn't support multiple state filings, part-year state filings, foreign earned income, or state returns for married people filing separately in community property taxes. You also cannot do a state filing without a federal filing. And because Credit Karma Tax only support the most common forms, it may not cover your specific tax situation. Besides the features, let's talk about the prices and fees. So TurboTax versus TaxSlayer versus Credit Karma, pricing and fees. This is an area, you would agree with me, folks, that will set these options apart the most. Here is a quick glance at each company's pricing. We just put this on the screen for you. So TurboTax, you have the free edition is good for simple returns. And so it's $0 at federal, $0 at state. The deluxe version includes more deductions, including mortgage and property taxes. It will cost you $60 for federal and $50 for state. The Premier Edition is kind of cool. It includes stocks, bonds, and other investments, rental property income and expenses. It will set you back $90 for federal and $50 per state. And for the self-employed version, you have personal and small business income and expenses. This will set you back $120 at federal level and $50 for state returns. That's for the TurboTax. Let's talk about TaxSlayer. They have four levels. So the Simply Free edition it's for basic taxes and student taxes. They have the Classic, which includes all tax situations except self-employed. That will cost you $17 at the federal level and $39 for state. They have the Premium edition. This was the same as Classic, but with priority support. So you're paying $20 more than the Classic, so that will be $37 for federal and $39 at the state. And the Self-Employed edition includes personal and self-employed taxes, and that costs $47 at the federal level and $39 for the state. And then the third software here is Credit Karma. The great thing here is that with Credit Karma, things are very simple. All tax forms and most tax situations are free. So you're paying $0 for the federal tax return and $0 for the state tax return. Having said that, as I said earlier, when it comes to Credit Karma tax, you better have a very simple, non-complicated tax situation. If you do, then yes, you can take advantage of all the features that Credit Karma has. But as soon as things become a little convoluted on your tax return or your tax situation, you might want to move on to another software package, whether TurboTax, TaxSlayer, or H&R Block. Let's also now evaluate the ease of use and customer support. So TurboTax versus TaxSlayer versus Credit Karma, ease of use and customer support. Now, signing up for TurboTax, TaxSlayer, and Credit Karma is very similar. So you will start an account if you don't already have one, and you will need to verify your email address. With TurboTax and TaxSlayer, you will choose your version at the start. But if you end up needing more forms that are covered with your chosen version, you can upgrade while filing your taxes. You don't pay for the service until you actually file your taxes. What about security? Each of these three options is kind of similar in security. They all use bank-level encryption and the latest security standard, which are provided by the IRS. Legitimate tax filing services are authorized by the IRS, which ensures that they comply with up-to-date security and privacy standards. What about mobile support and accessibility? Now, if you don't have a laptop or prefer to work on your taxes on your phone, any of these options could work for you. TaxSlayer and TurboTax both have Apple and Android-friendly mobile apps that you can use to file your taxes. However, TaxSlayer mobile app only support the simpler tax return options, so you need to keep that in mind. Credit Karma Tax does not have its own mobile app, but it has a mobile-friendly website you can use to file your taxes from your phone. And what about customer service and support? Each of these options offers basic software support in different ways. For example, with Credit Karma Tax, you can reach support via chat or email. And with TaxSlayer, you can get support via email or phone, with priority support available for certain versions of the product. TurboTax support is also available via email and chat. TaxSlayer, when we analyzed the responsiveness, we found a few things. TaxSlayer support can take 24 to 48 hours to respond to emails unless you are one of those with a priority account. Credit Karma Tax generally has good ratings of its support and customer service. One thing to keep in mind is that support in this case is really more about the software. So neither TaxSlayer nor Credit Karma Tax employ tax professionals to give you actual tax advice. They can actually help you, let's say with some forms you may struggle with, or with software related issues only. But TurboTax does employ CPAs and other tax professionals, including EAs, who can screen share with you and give you live advice on your taxes. But of course, this comes at an additional cost. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We're also having a conversation here around TurboTax versus TaxSlayer versus Credit Karma. Now, let's talk about TurboTax versus TaxSlayer versus Credit Karma, the pros and cons. So each of these options has its own pros and cons. Here are the ones we want you to pay attention to. TurboTax pros. You have a simple interface, right? TurboTax has a very intuitive interface with lots of guidance along the way, which is fantastic if you have a more complicated tax situation. You also get advice from CPAs and EAs. If you need advice from an actual tax professional, TurboTax is the way to go. For an extra fee, you can chat virtually with the CPA and get their guidance on your tax situation. TurboTax cons. This is the most expensive software package out there. TurboTax is typically one of the priciest options on the market, especially when compared to the free or budget-friendly options out there. So that's for TurboTax. What about TaxSlayer? Talk about that. TaxSlayer Pros. So cheaper premium editions. So with the TaxSlayer software package, you can get premium support and additional access to things like small business tax forms without paying a lot of money. Its premium editions are much cheaper than many of its competitors, which is fantastic again if you have a more complicated tax situation. And audit defense is also cheaper. So the Premium Plus and self-employed versions of TaxSlayer includes audit defense and support, and is still a lot cheaper than other options. What about the drawbacks? TaxSlayer cons. There's no tax advice, so if you might need advice on your taxes, you cannot get them. You cannot get that from TaxSlayer. Their support forms direct individuals to the IRS website or a local tax preparer for actual tax advice. What about Credit Karma? So Credit Karma Tax Pros, it's free. So it doesn't get any cheaper than this. And Credit Karma is more expensive, it's broader than the free edition of either of the other options that I've been talking to you about, meaning TurboTax and TaxSlayer. So even freelancers, contractors, and some small business owners can use Credit Karma Tax to file their state and federal taxes for free. What about the cons? Now, if you use Credit Karma Tax, there aren't as many forms supported. So with TurboTax and TaxSlayer, you can file almost any non-business related tax form as long as you pay for it. With Credit Karma Tax, you get access to only the most typical forms and simple business forms. So if you have to file more atypical taxes, more complicated taxes, you may be out of luck. Next, let's just now have a conversation about which is best for you. Is it TurboTax or TaxSlayer or Credit Karma? Which is best for you? The thing here is that if you know what you're doing and have a fairly simple situation, in other words, if you file your own taxes before and you don't need a lot of guidance, guess what? Credit Karma Tax is the way to go. You just cannot beat free, right? However, that no price free option does have some limitations. It may not offer as much guidance as you will get, especially with TurboTax. And if you run into a situation where you need an unsupported form, you'll have to start over on another platform, which could be frustrating. So go with the Credit Karma Tax if you know what you're doing and have a fairly simple tax situation. If you need to file complicated taxes at a low price, TaxSlayer is an excellent middle-of-the-road option for price and functionality. It doesn't offer as much guidance as TurboTax, but it does offer audit support and plenty of tax filing options for a much lower price. And if you need in-person advice, let's say you have a really complicated tax situation, or you want to be sure you're setting yourself up to save as much money as possible in the next tax year, then TurboTax's CPA situation is a great option in this case. You can talk to a real certified tax professional without having to pay a ton of money to a private individual or practice. And even one tax year with in-person advice can set you up for success in the future. So really, you have to really think about what really matters to you and your personal financial situation at the moment. So when it comes to tax software, there are no shortage of options, folks. You can file your taxes for free or for cheap in many cases, but in this case, you need to be sure you aren't missing any pieces. Or you can pay a lot more to have a tax professional look at your tax situation personally. So it all depends. The bottom line here is it all depends on your situation and your needs for this particular tax year. So let's kind of quickly recap here. If you look on the screen right now, we have recapped everything for you. So TurboTax, TaxSlayer, Credit Karma. So in terms of price, TurboTax, you go from $0 to free to $120 federal, $0 free to $50 state, and you will incur additional costs for TurboTax Live. And this is best for filers with complicated taxes or needing guidance. TaxSlayer. Again, if you look on the screen right now, you have $0. Prices go from $0 to $47 federal and $0 to $39 state. And this is great for confident filers needing audit support. And for Credit Karma, which is entirely free, is just fantastic for confident filers that don't need much guidance. I'll see you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.